So words to equation is literally just that. Given a description, write the equation. It's very straightforward because we have to pretty much tell you everything you need to know. We got 3 of these. Number 1, we have a cosine function with an amplitude of 2, a period of 2 pi, and a phase shift of 1/4 pi. And just an FYI, 1/4 pi, hopefully you're already aware of this, is also pi over 4. I always default to pi over 2, pi over 3, pi over 4. I never write them as the full fraction. You're always welcome to change it, by the way. That's completely up to you. Just want to put that out there. All right. So I'm going to set up the template of the equation. We have y equals whatever a is, cosine, whatever b is, times x, minus whatever the phase shift is, plus whatever the vertical shift is. Now I know this seems a little unnecessary, but word problems, I don't think these are hard, but there is always the opportunity to miss something, to forget something in the direction. So I'm going to underline everything that's important. I'm going to go ahead and underline cosine, but I'm going to check it off. I've already put that in my equation, so we're good. Amplitude of 2, period of 2 pi, phase shift of 1/4 pi over 4, same thing. Going in order, amplitude of 2, so A is 2. We'll go ahead and fill that in. There's no mention of a reflection here, so we know this is a positive 2. Period of 2 pi, that is going to be used to help us find our b value. So again, b is period equals 2 pi over b. And we're given that the period is 2 pi equals 2 pi over b. Hopefully a good chunk of you are able to look at this and notice that for this equation to be true, b must be 1. So if you notice it right off the bat, you don't have to show the work. That's fine. But just for one more good time, I'll show the work for this. Cross multiplying. We get b times 2 pi, so I'll write as 2 pi times b equals 1 times 2 pi, that's 2 pi. Again, at this point, I hope you would notice, to make that true, b would have to be 1. But if you don't, divide by 2 pi on both sides. B is 1. So we can now fill that in. So I've accounted for the period of 2 pi. Last thing is the phase shift of 1/4 pi, pi over 4, however you want to write it. I'll write it the way it was given here. So just fill that in. 1/4 pi. And there is no provided vertical shift, so this is a 0. And honestly, this looks good here, so you could go ahead and box it there if you want. I'm just going to rewrite it for good measure. Y equals, I'll drop the plus in front. 2 cosine, drop the 1. X minus 1/4 pi. And no vertical shift, so I don't have to write plus 0. And there's our first equation. Questions on the process? It's pretty much the same as graphs to equations, except we're given the period, so we don't have to find it. 2 more. Number 2, we have a sine function this time with an amplitude of 3, a period of pi over 2, a vertical shift of -2, and a phase shift of -pi over 4. Again, I will set up the outline of the equation. Y equals whatever A is, cosine of whatever B is, In parentheses, we have x minus the phase shift plus the vertical shift on the outside. And I already messed up. I copied it from above. This is not cosine, this is sine. There we go. All right. This is why I underline. Sine function. Check. Amplitude of 3, so A is 3. No reflection mentioned, so it's positive 3. Period of pi over 2, again, that is going to be used to find B. So I'll come over here to do that. B, period equals 2 pi over B. This time we know that the period is pi over 2 equals 2 pi over B. Cross multiply to solve. Then we have pi times B equals 2 times 2, that's 4 pi. Again, at this stage, if you can clearly see that B is 4, stop there. If not, divide both sides by pi. B equals pi will cancel on both sides, 4. So now we know that B value is 4. Vertical shift of negative 2, that goes at the end. So we have a plus minus 2 at the end. And lastly, the phase shift of negative pi over 4. I have everything filled in. Now I just need to rewrite, definitely rewrite because of that minus negative in parentheses. Y equals just 3 sine of 4 times x plus pi over 4 minus 2 at the end. Questions after seeing the second example? One more. This one's going to have all the bells and whistles. Number 3, sine function. I'll get that right this time. With an amplitude of 1/2, a period of 3 pi, a phase shift of negative 1/2 pi, and a vertical shift of 3. Also, this graph reflects over the x-axis. First, I'll set up the outline. Y equals a sine B, in parentheses, x minus the phase shift plus the vertical shift. Now I'll just fill this all in. You already got sine in there. Amplitude is 1/2. And I'm going to jump down to the bottom. It reflects across the x-axis since I've already read it. Go ahead and point that out. So that means this is a negative 1/2. Period of 3, that's used to find the B value. I'll come over here and do that. Sorry, 3 pi. Once again, it's period equals 2 pi over B. This time we know that the period is 3 pi equals 2 pi over B. Drop a 1 under the 3 pi to cross multiply. Crossing left, we have 3 pi times B. Crossing right, we just have 2 pi. Next, divide off the 3 pi on both sides. B equals, the pi's are going to cancel, 2/3. So we've accounted for the period. Phase shift of negative a half pi, I'll fill that in. Also, if you didn't notice, I'm intentionally writing this pi higher up so it doesn't look like the pi is in the denominator of the fraction. I don't make a big deal about it, but that is technically a big deal, so be careful when you write that. Vertical shift of 3 plus 3 at the end. So I got phase shift, vertical shift, and I already accounted for the reflection. The only reason I'm going to rewrite this is because, again, of that negative minus there. Need to get rid of that, or minus negative. Y equals negative 1/2 sine of 2/3 x plus 1/2 pi plus 3.